Here we go, guys. AFL Tonight, episode 15 in 3, 2, 1. And welcome to AFL Tonight. This is ArenaFan.com's weekly look at everything arena football. I'm Tim Capper, along with my kayak challenge co-host, Adam Markowitz. Welcome back, Adam.
Your fatter co-host, too, after that vacation.
Oh, really?
Yeah. The wallet is a little lighter and the stomach's a little heavier. So.
Well, I'm glad to have you back again. I want to thank Jim for joining us and taking the time to be our co-host for the past couple of weeks. Greatly appreciated. But again, Adam, great to have you back.
Always good to be here.
Yeah. Well, first thing we're going to talk about is one thing I think that was on our mind specifically that you and I talked about first thing when we talked was about this infamous bye week. And you had some very strong feelings, and I actually quite agree with you quite a bit on what happened. So, as everybody knows, that we had the first bye week. I think in league history, complete bye week, league-wide bye week, and basically, as we saw, Adam, everything just completely shut down. Literally, just shut down, right?
Yeah, I mean, literally, teams went on vacation. It became impossible to get a hold of anybody to talk about anything.
Right.
Have to do with the Arena Football League, and that's part of the reason why we don't have an interview this week. And hey, Tim and I took a week off last week too. So, yeah, I hate it. I get it, but I hate it. And I'll tell you this: I think it's here to stay. I think it's here to stay. I don't think it's going to change. I think this is going to be the way the league does it every year, and it wouldn't stun me if they do the same thing for Memorial Day too. I just have 2 bye weeks. Period. One's Memorial Day week. One's July 4th week, and everybody plays the other 18 weeks of the season. And to tell you the truth, makes a little bit of sense, too, when you think about the scheduling. Okay, everybody's, 7 weeks into the season, then there's a bye week for Memorial Day, and then another 7 weeks and bye for the 4th of July.
Right. But, I'm going to disagree with on this one because, look at the way that 4th of July fell on the weekend this year. I think it will next year's, I'm trying to remember, or is 16 a leap year?
16's a leap year.
Okay, so it'll fall on the Monday. So technically it will be a
holiday
July weekend again, yes.
Absolutely.
But from what I have found out and the information after asking that I was able to gather is that the only reason why that they had this complete league-wide bye week was because of the utter debacle that it was at the beginning of the season with all these teams folding, leaving the league, and then having to go through, I think it was possibly anywhere between 3 and 4 revisions of the actual schedule.
Well, I mean, I understand one thing. There are going to be a couple hundred people listen to the show, right? Let's be optimistic and just say a couple hundred people listen to the show.
Yeah.
If we have a couple hundred people listen to the show, these are the diehards. It doesn't matter whether you're playing games on Friday nights, on Saturday nights, on Tuesdays at 3 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah.
We're the ones who are going to be watching the games. We're not the ones who that decision to get rid of to not play on the 4th of July was made for. That decision was made for the fans who are walking up, for the fans who the season ticket holders who only know their teams, who may be going on vacation otherwise. That's what that decision was made for. And from that standpoint, I think you could say it was a success. Because though, from our standpoint, everything dropped dead. I mean, to me, it feels like we have to get up all the steam again from the start of the season to, it's such a... I'm not as into it right now. I mean... Are you into it as you are right now? Let's be real. Let's just be realistic about it.
And it's tough. And I think you bring up a very good point. Is the actual momentum. When people say that teams may not necessarily do as well coming off of a bye week. Hell, you got the entire league coming off a bye week. You got team executives. You got team front offices, etc. coming off of bye weeks. It must be tough getting back into it. I just think it takes away the entire momentum that the league had before we had this infamous bye week, and it's tough. I would hope that they would be able to figure out the schedule thing. Now, God forbid, Adam, that they had a bye week, coming back week 16, and have teams on a bye week on week 16. Well,
that's the most asinine part of this is that half the league is off next week. I mean, that's asinine, and there's no two ways around that. But I think the best way for the league to handle it, and I think I'm going to give credit to Brian Beaudry because I think he's the one who has the idea. If you knew in your city every year, no matter what date the 4th of July fell on, you were going to have a game. We'll just take Philadelphia because it makes the most sense considering where it is. It's a national holiday. Everybody's going to be off. It doesn't matter what the AFL is played on, when the 4th of July, is on Friday, Saturday, Tuesday, Thursday. Doesn't matter. You're going to have one game that week. Let the rest of the league take off. At least you have that one game with the one holiday where every year Philadelphia is going to be hosting 4th of July game. It keeps the momentum, something for all of us to talk about on during that week, and it doesn't give this whole massive freaking 13-day layoff between games like we're going to have now. I think that's a way you can get away with it. You can suit both the fans from all the other cities in the league who weren't going to show up to the game anyway because it was 4th of July weekend. You're not bogging them down with a game, but if you're in, again, example, Philadelphia, you have a 4th of July game and you could set your watch to it. By the way, that would obviously become a nationally televised game. I don't know what else is going on the 4th of July aside from baseball, and unless you're ESPN or Fox, there's an opportunity there. CBS, you could go live on CBS network with this. I don't know why that would be so difficult. And I don't know what do you have to lose to try it for a year if you're a CBS? What else are you putting on up against baseball on the 4th of July that's going to draw anything? Infomercials at 1 o'clock in the afternoon?
Right. And then the only difference this year, obviously, was because of the Women's World Cup. Fox did own those rights in the U.S. So that is a very good point. Some things that people could probably bring up. Hopefully people will bring up. Do they call these 10 or 12 episode series now on TV as event series. This could be an event game in between regular season, halfway point, and then Arena Bowl. It could become sort of like the Thanksgiving Day traditions in the US for the NFL, the Labor Day Classics in Canada. So I actually agree with what you and what Brian has suggested. I think it's a great idea. But I just think right now it's just a matter of ramping up, trying to how to get back into this. It's I think that's the best way.
That's an interesting way of talking about it, just yelling about it. But no, so I like the idea from that standpoint. I think the league will consider this to be a success because you're not going to have that 800 gate in Las Vegas or the 5,000 gate in Orlando or whatever it is. You're not going to have those gates. So that's a good thing from the league standpoint. It's just a matter of at the team level, does it really matter? Because if you didn't have a home game last week, you didn't have a home game the week before, maybe you have a home game this week. It's not that different from the rest of the schedule when you go on a 3-game road trip. So I think it's a good thing from a league standpoint, but for the diehard fan, I hate it. I hate it. And I'm never gonna get over it, but I understand why it would be here to stay. This is why I hated having the week off for the Arena Bowl when they did that a few years ago. Hated that.
Right, and you bring up a very good point. Actually, I don't think this trade-off actually worked well. I think that it's a best trade-off to have the week in between the conference championship and the Arena Bowl. It allows people the time to get the where they're going to travel to, et cetera, et cetera. And this is and here's a good example of why I say that. Look at what possibly could be a situation this year after the conference finals. Let's say that San Jose does go on, and the infamous rumor that's been going on around, San Jose plays the Arena Bowl in Sacramento. When are we going to hear about possibly going? When are we going to be? Where are we going to know where we're going to be able to travel to? Are they going to make this announcement prior? Because that San Jose will play. They're rumored to play 2 playoff games in Sacramento. I think it's
5 minutes before the game. That's when we're all going to find out.
I think it's a very good idea to be able to have at least a week in between.
But who are you catering to at that point? You're not catering to the fans. The fans don't give a shit. The fans don't want to see all that time in the middle. You're catering to how many media people are at the Arena Bowl? You've been there.
I know.
We account for half the goddamn media that's there. I mean, you know that.
Yeah, but I will admit, yes, they've gone back to the home field advantage. It's still there are still a lot of fans from across North America that do fly to the Arena Bowl. There really
How
are.
many? How many were there last year? 100?
I can't say.
I don't even think there were 100. I mean, really. But the purpose of that being a home field advantage game is for the fans who are the fans of that team to be in that building. When you're in Cleveland, I expect to see 17,000 Cleveland fans, and you know what? That's what you got. You got a whole bunch of Cleveland fans. Now, look, back in the day, back in like 99, I went up to Albany. Okay? I was there. So there was only a week for that game. The Predators played that game like 6 days after they got into that game. And by the way, it took an upset when Orlando beat whoever they beat in the semifinal. I think it was Iowa, for that game to be in Albany, or else that game would have been in Des Moines had Orlando lost that semifinal. So, they were able to figure this out in 1999 without the age of the internet, to be able for the teams to get together a plane, a bus, or whatever the hell they're going to need to get their group of 100 fans out there. Great. Because you know what? Every Arena Bowl was practically sold out. Every Arena Bowl from 1987 all the way up through, really when they went neutral site. Every Arena Bowl was sold out. So I don't see what the issue is at that point. And I don't know. I mean, this is kind of a tangent of what we're talking about right now. But I hate the bye week. It works for the Super Bowl because great. People aren't going to stop covering the Super Bowl.
Right.
This is the Arena Bowl. This is way, way different.
I guess for one, that's happened before. You and I are going to disagree on this thing. I think it worked. I'm just glad that the bye week is over. I hope they don't have it anymore. But if you were to do, as you mentioned, have the event series, then I think it will work. Anyways,
we play an outdoor game on the 4th of July. That's what they should do. Play an annual outdoor game on the 4th of July.
It's doable. And, they only did the one-off in Spokane for some reason, so.
And that was Spokane. Now, again, you got to have the city behind you, and you see Atlantic City was, I'll call it a bust for, lack of anything else, because it wasn't as successful as the game would have been in Philadelphia. Right. But if you put the game in Philadelphia, if you go across the street at the, Lincoln Financial or whatever, something that's right there, maybe it does become a gimmick that the city gets a hold of. Maybe you do get 10,000 people there.
I guess we'll see what the league does. We'll see what the league does. Now,
I hope you're listening in the league office. I hope you're listening, and I hope you hear what we're saying. And I understand if it's not plausible, but at least hear our ideas, because we are, theoretically the people listening and watching and all that are the best consumers that this league has.
Yes, that is true. That is true. Now, obviously, with there being a bye week, we still have to. Were some stuff that we can talk about from the week prior. I know you weren't here, but you did get caught up on some of the stuff. I thought one of the most interesting things, Adam, was, and it goes back to what happened a couple weeks ago, more than a couple weeks ago, you had the LA-Arizona matchup, and you seem to have Coach Mac and Coach Guy get into a little fisticuff.
Why not?
Shouting match.
It's Coach Guy. Coach Guy, when you win, you got a big target on your back, right? So, for really, let's call it what it is, 4 years, Arizona's been the best team in the league. And I don't think there's been any doubt about it for any of the last 4 years, even though they didn't win the championship in 2011 when they lost to Jacksonville in that amazing game.
Right. But
Kevin Guy is not going to stand by and watch his guys get bullied around. And he's got a team full of bullies. Those big guys in the trenches. There's a difference between being dirty and being a bully. And I know society doesn't like that term bully nowadays. In sports, I still think it's an okay term to use, because if you're the big nasty guy pushing around the guys in front of you, that's a culture thing. That's a good thing to have along the offensive defensive line. Right. I think Antosh Hawthorne is the bully of bullies in this league, and good for him. As long as it's clean. Now, some of the stuff he's done has not been clean.
Yes.
But when he's doing the clean stuff, I'm all for that. Look, it's football. You're designing it down and dirty. And that's what Kevin Guy believes. And he's a former football player. Bob McMillan's a former football player.
I know.
This is how they act.
I know, but this is something that I'm actually going to completely disagree with you. And I had a conversation with a few people about what happened, and I honestly think that what happened with Antosh Hawthorne was very similar to what happened versus Arizona and San Jose. It was after the quarterback. He had multiple roughing penalties on the quarterback. He had one of them was also, which wasn't called, if I'm not mistaken, which was going low to the knees on the quarterback. So is it that Antosh Hawthorne is playing dirty again? Or you don't understand what I'm trying to say here? I think that Coach Mack had the right to get pissed off like he did. And he was
I don't disagree with it.
Right.
But if you're Kevin Guy, what are you going to do? Back down?
Well, no, he's going to back up his player, obviously, which is what he did. But I think that there's one huge difference between this LA-Arizona matchup and the Arizona-San Jose matchup where Eric Meyer got hurt, was that this game was not on national television. If this game had been on national television, I can almost bet you, and I know you love a good bet, that Antosh Hawthorne would have been suspended again. I really do.
I still haven't seen the hit, so I can't comment towards that. But I also think there's a big difference for the league of Eric Meyer getting hurt and fill-in-the-blank quarterback getting hurt. If I said to you, 2 weeks ago, I said to you, or 3 weeks ago now, I guess, an LA quarterback is going to get hurt by Antosh Hawthorne, would you be able to tell me who it is?
No, because at that time it was either going to be A.D. Mack or it was going to be Danny Southwick.
Okay. Now, what's the difference between Danny Southwick getting hurt, who, by the way, didn't have a job at the start of this season, and Eric Meyer getting hurt?
Well,
it should be nothing. But you and I both know in sports, and it's not just an arena football thing, this is a sports thing, that's not the case. That's not how this works. The league protects its superstars, as it should.
Yes, but I understand that they do some. It looks like that's what they're doing, but I really think in this case, it doesn't matter what quarterback you are, whether you're a second string. People who watch the Arena Football League, at least for a while, know some of these names, and they know the Danny Southwick name. They know Eric Meyer.
How many people really know the Danny? How many people in Los Angeles know the Danny Southwick name?
Fans. That's all I'm saying is fans in LA.
How many of them? How many people are at their games? 7,000? Yeah. Did 100 people know who Danny Southwick was before the first time he suited up for the LA Kiss? Did 100 of them know who he was? I doubt it.
No, to be fair also, even with you and me, even though with as much about the Arena Football League that we know, sometimes at the beginning of the year, it is hard to name more than 8 starting quarterbacks. To be fair.
But that's what I'm saying. If one of those 8 gets hurt, that's a problem for the AFL.
Right.
And remember something. This also goes back to when Nick Davila got hurt. Nick Davila got injured against LA.
Right.
So this was, I don't want to say Antosh Hawthorne looking at it as eye for an eye, because it's not, but
no,
it's players. I can tell you from hanging around players remember these things. They remember when guys get hurt. They remember when guys take shots. They remember when guys jaw at each other. And when teams are playing against each other 3 times a year, that's what you're going to see happen. The AFL did this to itself, and the AFL is going to have to deal with things like this from time to time. But in the league's eyes, there's a big difference between taking a cheap shot at Eric Meyer and a cheap shot at any other quarterback, or for that matter, what's the difference between Antosh Hawthorne taking a shot at an offensive lineman's knees or Eric Meyer's knees? The answer is in the trenches, it happens every play. And for those of you on Google Hangouts, you saw that. You didn't see that on Meerkat, but I was just using kind of the air quote thing. It happens every play on the offensive line. When it happens to a quarterback, it's dirty. When it happens to an offensive lineman, what should be the difference? The answer is there shouldn't be a difference, but the league protects its stars. You can replace offensive linemen. I don't care how good the offensive lineman is at any level of football. They're completely replaceable in terms of star power. Quarterbacks are not. That's why Anton Hawthorne got suspended the first time. So I don't think it's a national television thing. I think it's a matter of who it was that he hit. I think if he hits Eric Meyer, if he hits Dan Rodabaugh, a guy like that, even maybe a Shane Austin, maybe we have a much different result on our hands.
It's interesting. I just said I'm curious to know if it would have been if there would have been a difference if the game would have been on national TV. If anybody happened to see the actual hit, I'm kind of disappointed that because it was in-house cameras that they didn't show the actual fisticuffs or the conversation between Coach Guy and Coach McMillan. Adam, once you see it, I think you may understand. I understand your point, but it was borderline dirty, especially multiple times, low hits, and as we know, quarterbacks this year also seem to be a dime a dozen when it comes
unless your name is Eric Meyer or whatever.
Well, yeah. So, next on the docket, something very interesting came about, and it really didn't get much airplay, and we actually sent off a request to try to get a comment from the league. A comment from the Players Association or the Players Union about this too. A former New Orleans Voodoo player, and please correct me if I don't have it in front of me, sued not only the Voodoo, but also sued the Arena Football League.
Well, which means he's suing the Arena Football League, but yeah, we get that.
Right. For, dare we say, neglect after getting
it's basically what he called it.
Yeah, after getting some sort of head trauma, concussion, etc., being forced back into the game, forced back into the game. Now, obviously, concussions and CTE are huge issues. If anybody happened to see the documentary that the league put out, based off the book, the name has escaped me, but it was very, very eye-opening on how especially the National Football League, did things slowly in order to make things right. And as we found out this year, after all these, after all the lawsuits and whatnot, this huge amount of money that's been given to these players. And anyways, it's throughout sports. What's your take on this, Adam? I mean, mind you, one thing surprised me was that the small amount of money that he actually is asking for. It's only for $75,000.
He's looking for $75,000.
May not be the money thing, but you understand what I'm
Remember, he's looking for $75,000 in a season which he made, how much money? He's looking for how many times his annual wage?
Maybe $15,000, $16,000, whatever it was back then.
But it's okay. So he's looking for 5 times what he made in the league at that point. Now, that's not the point, because it's not the $75,000 that's the issue here. The issue is that dirty word of neglect, because I think it's only, in the National Football League, the CTE thing was a big deal, and the lawsuit cost billions with a B of dollars. Obviously, if the Arena Football League ends up with a lawsuit over millions of dollars, there's going to be a real issue for this league, which it probably will not survive, let alone anything that starts with a B. So I wonder if it's not about this lawsuit, and it's not about this $75,000, and it's not about this one player. But what happens next? Are we going to see in a couple of years a class action lawsuit come up from players who played back in the day? They don't really have anything to sue because the AFL that AFL went bankrupt. But what about the players who retired in 2010? Are those players going to ever band together and come up with a CTE type of lawsuit against the Arena Football League? It's not a given that it's going to happen. And I think that the league has come a long way, just as football and society in general have come a long way
Right.
to fixing, well, not fixing the CTE problem, but aiding in CTE awareness as much as possible. But what happens from here? So I think this lawsuit is going to be interesting to watch to see, number one, whether it ever actually goes to court or whether it gets settled out of court. And what happens next? Will there be other players? Will there be, and I'm just going to throw names out there for guys who retired in the last couple of years, a Mark Green, a Brett Dietz. Will any of these guys come together? Because remember, we've seen players take on the Arena Football League before.
Right.
We saw the oh God, his name's slipping my mind. Guy we had the interview with at the Arena Bowl.
Guidry.
4 years ago. Thank you. The Guidry case. We've seen situations where players have gone after the AFL. We've also seen situations where past owners have gone after the AFL. So I think it's interesting to see what happens from here. Not this lawsuit, and we may not talk about this again for years. It's not this lawsuit. It's what happens down the line to the Arena Football League from this.
Right. And as most people don't know, the Guidry lawsuit was one of the biggest. It really shaped the AFL, because without the decision from that Guidry lawsuit, there would have been no PU, no Players Association at the time. There probably wouldn't be a PU at the now. So that was one of the big historical notes in league history. And you're right. Could something like this be on the horizon?
That's why I think it's really important to see what the PU does with this too. Is the PU going to stand behind this, or is the PU just going to let this play out in court?
Yeah. I was really curious to see if we had gotten one. I'd have to check and see if we received anything. But as of yet, at least not in front of me, because I can't use my phone either at the moment, because we're streaming to our wonderful people over on Meerkat also. I can't really check back. It probably check my tablet if I had that in front of me.
How many pieces of technology does one 2-man crew really need?
Well,
apparently 4, because you've got a phone, I've got a phone, I've got a laptop, you've got a laptop, and they're all being used for something.
Yes, yeah, and of course being logged into another. Anyways, that's I digress.
Nobody else needs to care about that.
Exactly. It's very interesting to see if anything will come of this. Now, if this had never been published on that Louisiana law site, we may have never heard about this.
This is not exactly big, huge news. This is just something that happened to come up across our news scraper from a tiny little website that you wouldn't think would be breaking news about things like this.
It's funny how we usually find out. That's exactly how we find out a lot about the stuff. Remember the one Iowa Barnstormer player a few years ago that was caught using PETs.
PEDs, yeah. Yo, look at how the Alex Rodriguez thing was busted. This tiny little crap newspaper in South Florida, not the Miami Herald, some little crap newspaper in Miami busted the A-Rod story wide open.
Yep, with these days of TMZ and Deadspin and Gawker, this stuff can easily
Everyone's a member of the media. Every single person on the planet is a member of the media.
Right. So I'm very interested to see what happens. I can give a good example. And the only reason why I'm giving this, Adam, is because I know this happened. Everybody who is a Cleveland Gladiators fan knows about Brian Burkowski. He was with the Montreal Alouettes, and I happened to speak with him while he was at training camp for the Owls before he got cut and summarily came back to the Gladiators. The fluky thing that could occur during training camp, he gets a knee to the helmet. I'm sure, Adam, as you know, if you get a knee to the helmet, more likely than not, you're going to have your bell rung. Right? So,
yeah.
He was held out for precautionary reasons. They went through, I guess, through all the... Why do you think the leagues have the concussion protocol put into place?
Well, every league needs concussion protocol put in place.
I agree. And that's why it worries me when you hear, if anybody happened to watch the CFL action on ESPN this past week, ESPN2, and saw the hit that Drew Willie took of the Winnipeg Blue Bombers, that concerns me that he's going to be able to come back and play. So concussions are a huge thing. We don't hear about them much in the AFL, Adam, at all, because they're usually kept quiet. Or somebody like a Richard Obert will find out, and we'll find out a little bit later why somebody is out. And we know this. It's all about the mind games that these teams play, so that they can get an advantage on your opponent the next week if you do or don't know if a particular player is going to be playing or not. And that's where it really be the fine. It's really a fine line there, Adam, because you can have all the brain sensory stuff in the back of your helmet that show when you get a major hit. You got to worry about false positives, and are those readings, are they right?
Now, I've sat there and said so many times watching Tampa Bay football this year, said, man, Jason Boltis looks like he got knocked out. I mean, I've said that a number of times. Now, I mean, there's an difference between being woozy and getting a concussion, but the two aren't that far apart from each other. And the fact of the matter is, they may not, technology and science may find that they're not anything apart from each other. Uh-huh. That may be, if you are what we would define as woozy, that you had a concussion. But I've said that and again, I'm looking from the press box, not even looking into his eyes.
Right.
Said, wow, how the hell is he still in this game after that hit? Because that Tampa Bay offensive line, I've been gone for a few weeks. I'm 100% certain it's still atrocious. I'll find out on Saturday.
Yeah. So it's concussions and these type of injuries and we know the league is very proactive. There's nothing against the league, but
no. We're not saying the league did anything wrong in any of these situations. I don't even know if this lawsuit is founded. It's just a matter of if there is something to it, or if the league does just settle it, what comes next? That's what my concern is.
This is my question, and I can't remember, and maybe you can tell me, or anybody who is watching us live on Meerkat. Does each team have a league-appointed neurologist? And I'm trying to remember what the CBA says. I'd have to check it real quickly, but I don't have it in front of me. Are neurologists a part of this? I think that the league may have one. We would hope that they have one. Off the top of your head?
Don't know.
I'd have to check the CBA. If anybody can, shoot me over an email or shoot Adam an email, and we'll necessarily make the corrections. Yeah, I'm interested to see where this goes. I'm very interested to see where this goes. Don't forget, as you know, we are on a multitude of platforms on social media. And if you happen to be listening to us or watching us this week, you're actually looking at 3 different types. We are on YouTube, something new that we're trying. We're going to try to stream AFL Tonight live on YouTube, and it will be available on archiving. It's youtube.com/ArenaFan online. We got our Meerkat account, which is going like gangbusters, and we thank every one of you for joining us each week. That is also going to be available on an archive type basis. We have Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. Those are all /@ArenaFan. And do not forget, I mentioned you're listening, as it's been for a long while. Besides iTunes, there's also SoundCloud, where you can listen to all of the archives of AFL Tonight for the past season, for 2015, and for iTunes, it's even longer than that. The entire time that Adam and I have been co-hosts for this show. So
a long time ago.
I know. Now here is an interesting one. And I know we weren't able to hear what we're going to have at the beginning of the show, what the name of the show is going to be.
It's a doozy.
But just after, right after we went on bye week, I think, the news came across, and a few people had heard about this prior to this occurring. Maurice Purify, Adam, he's back in the AFL, and I'm sure if you were a betting man, that would have been even money. Yes? No?
Yeah. Oh, you kind of cut out there to me for a second, so
Okay.
I'm assuming that you're talking about Maurice Purify and the fact that he's now with San Jose SaberCats. By the way, just something that just came across today. Carson Kaufman was put on IR today. That just came across, so that's something you probably wouldn't be able to figure out because you got 12,000 things working on your computer and I don't. But Carson Kaufman's now on IR. Warren Smith was activated. Don't know who the Shocker are going to be starting this week, quarterback. But yeah, clearly Maurice Purify. When he got cut by Arizona, everybody kind of said, well, it's only a matter of time until he shows up in San Jose. Odds have it he's healthy now because we know he wasn't totally healthy when Arizona cut him.
Right.
And now he's back in San Jose. So the rich get richer, as if San Jose needed anyone else. I know Adrian Tennell isn't playing anymore, but, you still got Reggie Gray, who's one of the, 4 or 5 best receivers in the league. Now you add Maurice Purify to that. One of the best big body receivers in the league. And, oh, by the way, you've got Eric Meyer throwing the football, and you've got home field advantage throughout the playoffs in all likelihood.
Right.
So now what? It's just San Jose stacked. It's almost stupid to talk about. But I will say this. You're not that far removed from the possibility being there of San Jose not having the 1 seed because they still got to play Arizona again, and Arizona's only 1 game back now instead of 2 games back.
That's true, and it's something I'm sure we'll talk about a little bit later in the show, but there are a lot of variables that can happen, and as we've seen, any team seems to be able to knock off any team. It is a very weak conference where San Jose and Arizona are, so it'll be interesting to see what happens. And yeah, we just had to at least mention that Mo came back.
There aren't too many Arena Bowl MVPs that are sitting in free agency. Let me rephrase that. That are sitting in free agency that are legitimately going to sign with someone that legitimately hit the open market.
Yeah.
There aren't many.
No, but I mean...
In fact, do you ever remember an Arena Bowl MVP becoming a free agent in the Arena Football League? Like not just, hey, I'm not playing anymore free agent, but my services are seriously out there for somebody to go sign free agent.
Now, are we going to be talking early free agency then?
Yeah. No. Go all the way back. Do you ever now? Not the 1998 or 1999. Everybody became a free agent. I'm talking about since that point.
So not talking about the Barry Wagner.
No. Not when everybody became a free agent.
With these days of multiple contracts and whatnot.
Kyle Rowley. That's probably it.
Yeah. I'm at a loss. I'm just trying to think here. Everything's changed from 08 to 010. Everything changed.
010?
Well, yeah. 10. Top of my head, no. Not really.
I mean, Kyle Rowley's the only other one I can think of.
These guys are being courted.
That's a nice way of putting it.
Yeah, I know. It could be worse. They could not want a player because they found a video of him slugging somebody in a bar.
Oh, wow. We're really going to go there, aren't we?
Yeah.
Not associated with me anymore.
But you know what? I can't. What's stopping Chris Jackson from signing with the San Jose SaberCats again? What's stopping him from signing with the Arizona Rattlers again?
Well, nothing. What's to say it's not going to happen? It very well could. I'd say there's a decent chance that it will. I mean, it's not odd on that it will, but I could definitely see a situation where that comes up, especially with Arizona needs a third wide receiver. No doubt about that.
Yeah.
I could see Chris Jackson being signed the week before the San Jose game. That's the only game that matters left for either of these teams. They're just going to keep mowing down everybody else.
Should be interesting. Because I know you've been away a few weeks. The last 2 weeks, Adam, in my opinion, LA has looked good. The changes that Coach Mack made, I think, will help.
Good is very good in relation to what? Yeah, they beat San Jose.
The way they were through 9 weeks, they've looked a hell of a lot better.
Okay, so they beat San Jose. I got you. I know they look better, but they look better in relation
And they look
to what?
good. They
To what
actually
they
did
were?
look good
Great.
versus Arizona. They did look good versus Arizona. It was close. It was a one-score game.
Okay, so nobody's going to want to play against that team. I get it, but
It's possible. It's possible that they could be. I don't think I'm making a stretch here. In the playoffs, if LA makes the playoffs, which we know is very possible, that they could be this year's Portland Thunder.
no chance. None. No chance. That first week of the playoffs, there will be 2 games decided by less than 21 points. Neither one will be in that conference.
Okay. Well, if I eat crow, I eat crow. At least it'll be the only time I eat crow this year, right?
At least you're not eating your hat like the guy in Tampa.
Yes. Okay. Go over the questions for you, the fans, in a couple of minutes for the few that we received.
And we only have one, so let's go. Unless you have one on Twitter, I don't know.
No,
but if anybody's got any questions for us, now's the time to put it on Meerkat because that's the best way to get it to us.
Yeah. Don't see any that we had. Let's see.
We have one on Facebook.
I'm checking right now for Twitter. Then we can continue.
Normally, this is where we would run our interview, but we don't have an interview.
Okay, no, here we go. Question from Mike Dawson. We'll go and continue, then we'll continue with the show. Mike Dawson, if you and I, Adam, could change one rule in the arena game, what would it be?
Free substitution. Does that count as a rule?
Yeah.
Okay,
change during the Elway era.
Iron Man football. That's the one thing I would change. No hesitation.
I mean, we got enough scoring.
This stupid offsides rule needs to go too. That's a dumb rule.
Well, you got it. Which one? The one if you go offside the next amount of times, it automatically becomes a 10-yard penalty?
Yeah, that's a dumb one.
The league is trying to do everything.
That's a dumb one, and you get ejected after your second dumb one.
Yeah, defensive. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a dumb one too.
Well, remember, the league is trying to do everything possible to make defenses better. And I think what's funny is that the scoring of the league has stayed very consistent. And you and I both know this. I mean, yes, it's down over the past couple of years, anywhere from 5 to 7 points, I think, over the past 2 years, if I remember correctly. It hasn't made a difference. Free substitution, I think, could easily change the game again. Getting rid of free substitution could change the game again. But there can be some other ones.
You asked me if I changed the rule.
I know. And Mike's wanting to know. Mike was curious. So, I think what's funny is that, remember the infamous Clay Rush rule about kicks going over the net?
Meh. Yeah.
Okay, that's one of the quirky ones. But to me, it really doesn't make much of a difference these days. With they
can't kick the ball to the net, let alone over the net.
That's what I'm getting at. The rules you were talking about are pretty weird, but there really hasn't been much of anything for those 2 rules this year. Hardly anybody, as far as we know, has been ejected. How about this one? Since it's come up quite a bit, how about throwing in one, getting rid of the ejection rule or something like that? Maybe, but what about for roughing the passers? Setting an X. Well, set an X amount. Could be almost the same thing. In a way, it's like a suspension, so to speak. 2 in a game. Out. I don't know. Trying to think about safety. At least when it comes to sacks and stuff like that for quarterbacks, it's not like it is in the NFL.
If you're gonna do that, you got to do that for all personal fouls.
You could. Yeah.
It's not a bad idea.
But maybe some of them need to be tweaked. None of this crap that the CFL and NFL are looking to do when it comes to making extra points. In the CFL, that kick from the 32, for Christ's sake. It's already down. So what? It was 99.4% when it came to extra points made. You want to have some fun? Put Arena League uprights in each of these dens.
Yep, that would do it.
That would make it very interesting. Then you can kick from wherever the hell you want to. You're making a 50-yarder from, we saw how much they really didn't like it when they did it in the Pro Bowl. I loved having it. Loved having it. But I hope we help there, Mike. So, the other question is, Adam, and I will find it. Let's see. Would help if I chose the ArenaFan page.
Oh, here, I got it.
You got it? Okay, thank you.
Yeah. Eric Slaby, if the league tries to expand after this season, what 2 cities do you guys think they'll target? I think we've talked about this several times before.
Yeah.
But, we can go over it again. If you ask me, I still think Columbus should have a team. But, I would say the cities that seem to talk about most are San Antonio, Pittsburgh, Sacramento, kind of as a quasi San Jose thing. If that doesn't work out for whatever reason at the SAP.
Yeah.
So I would think, if the league would want to put teams back where they were before they do much of anything else.
We need some more teams in the Midwest. I don't know if we should go back to a Chicago.
No. But yeah, they're talking about it. So maybe they will.
Maybe some more teams out east, maybe a DC type of team, a Charlotte. Yeah, but the thing is, everything that I've named there have been cities that have had Arena League teams in the past. So it's.
You know what we need? Did you see the team that I forget what they are? There's something or other Mad Goats.
Yes.
We need a team called the
Hartford Yard Goats.
Oh, Yard Goats. I'm sorry. We need a team called the Yard Goats in the AFL. That'd be cool.
Oh, that's the thing that I like about this. I think I love the names. Some of the names, whether they're singular, as long as they don't end in Z. That's minor league baseball to me. But yeah, hey, I think Hartford getting another team.
What do you think the Mad Goats are, or whatever the hell they're called?
The Yard Goats?
Goats. It's a minor league baseball team.
It is a minor, but they always seem to be able to pull up some interesting things. I mean, I'll give a shout out to some of the alphabet leagues. I will admit I like some of their names. But there's so many times, Adam, that you could use the team name Storm. Let's see.
Anyway,
yeah.
Moving on.
Yep. Let's see here. Now you wrote this. You and I weren't able to talk about this much. Handicapping the South.
Yeah, I don't know who's winning that division. Anybody have any idea who's winning that division? Because I certainly don't. Yeah, I mean, for those of you who don't know, we've been kind of living. Oh wow, what is wrong with our schedule page? Sorry, we're gonna get that fixed
because of the bye weeks. Because of the bye weeks.
Yeah, but every single game is not on the schedule anymore.
No, scroll down. Remember, usually it shows up with the previous. It shows up with the current week and the previous week.
Oh, good lord, that's a mess.
Yeah, I'll look at it post.
Yeah, anyway. Yeah. That was just a sidebar. For those of you who are living under a rock in the Arena Football League or need to be woken up from your long slumber, you haven't missed much. Philadelphia, San Jose, and Arizona are still division winners and are going to win their divisions by a comfortable number of games. But Orlando, Jacksonville, and Tampa are separated by a grand total of a game and a half and just one game in the loss column.
What? I just woke up. You're telling me that that's true? I've been sleeping under a rock.
Yeah, well, you are in Canada. They do go through like hibernation or something like that up there. But anyway, this week, obviously, big game between Orlando and Tampa, and those two teams still play each other twice this season. And oh, by the way, Cleveland's kind of in this mix too for that last playoff spot. Orlando has, it'll all play itself out. Orlando's got Tampa, Cleveland. left on their schedule. So if they're going to play their way in, they're going to have to win those games. Jacksonville has left games with Portland, Philly, Tampa, Orlando, and New Orleans. Certainly a bit of an easier road, while Tampa has games, also a relatively easy road here, against Orlando, New Orleans, Jacksonville, LA, and Orlando. The difference is Tampa's going to have to win probably both of those games against Orlando. I would venture to say if they want to win the Southern Division, and that may be the only route into the playoffs. If I had to guess right now, though, all three of these teams are going to get in. I think they're all going to get in. I think Cleveland's going to be the odd team out. I still think Jacksonville is going to win this division, even though I'm very hesitant to say that. But I think they win this week against Portland. I think they'll put Tampa away on the 25th. I think they'll beat New Orleans. Then I think they have to get one of the two against Philadelphia and Orlando. They may have to win that game at Orlando on August 1st.
Right.
But if they don't win that game, I still think they're going to get in. So I think all three of them are going to get in. I think Cleveland's going to be the team left out. I think it'll go in order: Jacksonville, Orlando, Tampa. The Orlando, Jacksonville, Tampa as it is right now wouldn't surprise me either. So especially if Tampa wins this week, Jacksonville knows it's got that inside edge.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. This is just such a toss-up. It really, really is. I mean, you look at the other conference, basically everything's set. Yeah, it's gonna. I wouldn't be surprised if it comes down to the last weeks. I really wouldn't be surprised at all.
For good measure, Cleveland has left at Philly, and then 3 home games: Orlando, Spokane, and Philadelphia. That said, I still think that Cleveland's going to be the odd team out. I think they're playing like hell right now,
right?
And I don't think they've played a good game to the middle of May. And unless the bye week got them back in shape, I think they're in a lot of trouble going out. Because I think they'll lose this week to Philadelphia, and then they got to find a way to beat 2 out of the 3 of Orlando, Spokane, and Philly, and that's not going to be easy to do.
No, it won't be. Yeah, I just I don't know. Stuff. How about this? Let's let them play it out. It might be just easier to let them play it out, and then we can say, "Hey, do you see who happened to win the Southern Division?"
Well, of course, it's easier to do that, but then what will we talk about?
Yeah, good point. I know. Wow, you're right. That schedule page really does look like crap.
Yep.
What was the other thing that we had here? We really didn't go much into this, but season awards. It's very interesting, Adam, that we got 2 players that are so close to. I don't dare say the word shattering the touchdowns, kickoff returns for touchdowns in a season. We got 2 players that are this close to getting that record. I mean, do you throw those guys into the mix? I mean, what about quarterback? Well, I mean, offensive players
of the year.
What is it? Offensive players of the year? No. Well, not kickers, but offensive players of the year and there's MVP. Would you dare put those 2 people?
No. And by the way, there are 4 people separated by 1 touchdown if you want to include in Brandon Tompkins and Gerald Young.
Right.
No, I mean, look, offensive player of the year is always the quarterback who didn't win the MVP award. Now, I think it's very interesting this year because this is a year unlike any other. You're only going to have 1, maybe 2 quarterbacks throw for 100 touchdowns this year. Ronald's going to do it. He's the MVP, and I think that's hands down, no doubt about that. Aside from that, Randy Hippard's the only man completing even 68% of his passes, but he's only played half the season. Eric Myers missed several games. His numbers, though good, aren't phenomenal. Tommy Grady hasn't done anything special. Shane Austin, yeah, he's going to maybe throw for 100 touchdowns. He's also going to throw 20 picks. So I don't know where you go from there. Nick Davila, he's been really good when he's been in, but he's only played how many games? So, Davila's only going to throw 75 touchdowns this year, maybe 80 touchdowns.
It should be interesting to actually see if we ever get a quarterback who wins some with an MVP or Offensive Player of the Year, and he was out for those many games. I don't think
could happen.
I don't think we've ever seen that.
I think it's very plausible and very reasonable.
The other ones here that I was talking about was we had Dwayne Brooks also, who's up there when it comes to he's one away from the record. Because we're trying to get the stats corrected, by the way, that are on our kick returns, touchdowns, and season leaders. And as we also mentioned, it's AJ Cruz. Quarterbacks. Do we dare throw a wide receiver? Could we actually see for the first time have a wide receiver getting an MVP?
No. Don't see it.
No?
Don't see it. Quarterback's too valuable.
Quarterbacks, unfortunately, this year have taken a huge hit. The only one that Radaballs has taken, I think, basically he's played in every game this year. Well, obviously he has, because he owns, he has the current longest streak, Ironman streak in the league going right now. I think it's 83, 84 games, if I'm not mistaken. What else?
Well, I mean, I get Defensive Player of the Year, Playmaker of the Year. I mean, Playmaker of the Year will be one of those guys who returns kicks. Clearly.
Okay, good. Okay, I'll give you that one.
I like Brandon Tompkins. He's already got over. He's going to have probably about 1,400 receiving yards. He's going to have probably about 1,700 return yards. Probably going to have about 30 touchdowns in totality on the season. He's going to win Playmaker of the Year, I think. Defensive Player of the Year, probably Jeremy Kellum. 12 picks, leads the league by a comfortable margin. Maybe Joe Sykes, who I think is probably the most dominating defensive player.
I think Sykes would be the leading candidate.
So I think Kellum would win it because the league is enamored with picks more than anything else. But, yeah, I mean, I'd give it to Joe Sykes.
I mean, you look at the type of years right now that Marco Thomas and Reggie Gray are having. Could we give them an offensive MVP?
No. Sorry, dude. It's still going to be two quarterbacks.
I would hope that the writers. It makes me wonder who's going to do it this year, because with the league introducing the infamous AFL media poll,
which the media isn't voting on, or at least we're not voting on.
That they'll get an actual nod on who gets it, and maybe we'll have a surprise, as you said. Sorry, you only made AFL, second team quarterback, first team quarterback, second team. I would like to see that. I mean, there's so many wide receivers right now that would be worthy of this.
They're all dime a dozen.
But they're names that have been around for a while.
Yeah, but wide receivers don't win awards like that.
When was the last time that we had a wide receiver win something major? Eddie Brown?
I mean, different day and age, but yeah.
Yeah. Okay, here's one. Coach of the Year.
I think it's Kevin Guy. He's not going to win it because there's this stigma that he's had the best team in the league for all these years, so his team should be dominant because he plays against a crappy schedule. But I think he's done more with he had Shane Boyd start a game and won. Think about that for a minute. He won a game with Shane Boyd.
Yeah.
Who I think is going to win it. I think Clint Dozell is going to win it, but I would give it to Kevin Guy.
Yeah, Dozell. How about Darren Arbett?
Those are the only three options. I mean, really. Yeah, Orlando finishes at 12-6. You've got a decent argument for Rob Keefe, but I don't think so.
Yeah, no, I still think he would be a distant fourth, even if they did finish at that record. He would be a distant fourth.
Yep.
And the way that it would go right now, I probably would put Dozell 1, and honestly, I would put Arbett 2, slightly ahead of Kevin Guy right now.
Well, you're a communist. or Canadian, one or the other.
They both begin with C. Yeah. Okay. Let's go. There is a full docket. I think we finished everything here. There is a full docket on the schedule this week. Thank God. Right, Adam?
You can't tell on our website, but yeah.
Yeah. The good thing is that the league, the schedule starts off with actually a national game of the week, and
no one except bettors will be watching in the fourth quarter.
Well, which I don't understand is, CBS seems to be flexing quite a few games, which I think, if I'm not mistaken, isn't it? Is this Philadelphia? Yeah, this Philadelphia game, it was a flex game.
Yep.
It doesn't look like ABC. ESPN is going to be making any of these flexes.
Nope.
But it just so happens it starts off with New Orleans traveling to San Jose on ESPN2, and I think, Adam, you said that what was it so far?
I tell you, it opened to 33.5. It is currently 32. SaberCats are favored by 32 points. As far as I can tell, second time in league history that a team has been favored by 30-plus points. What was the first time? When LA went to San Jose and won in overtime.
There we go.
I think San Jose is going to win this game by 50. I legitimately think we're going to look back at this game, and it's going to be on that list of ours of the biggest blowouts in league history.
Okay. What is funny, and I don't know if you've been keeping watch of this, Massey ratings. I know you've heard of them, right?
Yeah.
They've showed some very interesting things over the past couple of weeks when it comes to the percentages that these teams that they think are going to win or lose these games. And if I don't know if you remember, LA and LA San Jose, LA was at a 0% chance of winning.
Meh.
Okay. The only reason why I say is that is this. According to Massey this week, New Orleans has a 1% chance at winning this game.
So you're saying there's a chance.
They have it and I think this bases it on a lot of what the betting lines are. They have this at 33.5 points.
Tim, whatever this is you are holding in front of the phone, please move it.
Oh, sorry, guys. That's my tablet. How long was I holding that there for?
I don't know. I just looked down and it's been there. And then I looked down a few seconds later and it was still there. So,
yeah.
Hey, as I'm looking at it, it's still there. So, but of course,
more than a 9-second delay. Sorry, guys. Trying to do two things at once.
There we go.
Yeah.
Anyway.
But yeah, this game, it may get these late games recently seem to be getting great ratings on ESPN2, so maybe it'll pull in its 166,000 people in a 0.1 rating. But this game's going to be a blowout. Utter blowout.
Hey, New Orleans has a winning record all time on national television.
No kidding.
Thanks to Chip Merritt for that little tidbit. Happy birthday, Chip, by the way.
That's nice. Next game of the week is probably one of the better games. Real quickly, one of the better games of the week is also the other national game of the week. It is Cleveland, who's going to be traveling to play the Philadelphia Soul.
Philly's laying 15 in this game, and I give it. Like I said earlier, I think Cleveland's a wreck right now. I don't think they've played a good game in a while. I think Shane Austin has had it. Philadelphia will take some more vengeance out from last year's, 8 billion losses at the last second to the Gladiators by locking that one down.
Massey has them going at Cleveland only winning at a 20% clip. So
they have far less than a 20% chance of winning that game.
Warren I-4. Not much more.
This is the game of the week.
Yeah. And unfortunately, well, it's on locally.
I still don't know what the hell network Cozy is. No idea.
Well, yeah. Everybody knows the history between these two teams. They're like this close together when it comes to wins and losses, points, et cetera, et cetera. There is a big difference this week. Obviously, both teams have their starting quarterbacks back. So where would we go with this one? I mean, it is a huge game, obviously, Adam.
Remember when Tampa Bay was up 55-34 in the fourth quarter against Orlando?
Yep.
You remember that? It feels like forever ago now, doesn't it?
Yep.
And Bernard Morris, of all people, led the charge back. You know who's playing in this game that wasn't playing in that game? Randy Hippert. Do you know who really wants to stick it to Tampa Bay more than any other person in the entire Arena Football League? Randy Hippard. Hippard's going to come up big again this week, and I think Orlando's going to win this game. By the way, Pred's favored by 8 points.
8 points?
8.1.
Oh, 8 point. Yeah, cozy. I don't know. Then Vegas is traveling to Arizona. That's going to be on Fox Sports Arizona Plus, I think, if I remember correctly what this means. This game is not going to be like the game that it was earlier in the year.
You don't think so either, huh?
No.
You don't think Arizona's going to lose this game by 19 points again, do you?
No.
In fairness, I'm sorry, 17 points, not 19 points. In fairness, they've already taken their anger out on the Outlaws once. They beat them 60-41 back on May 16th. But of course, at that point, BJ Coleman was throwing the ball and not Nick Davila. If you think this game is going to be any closer than it was at that point, by the way, JJ Raderick was still quarterbacking the Outlaws too. Yep. At that point, God knows who the Outlaws are going to be using a quarterback this week, since both their quarterbacks are on IR. I'm assuming they're going to use
Brackett.
No, Brackett's on IR.
Oh, is he?
What's his nuts who beat Portland last week? Hang on, I'm gonna get there.
What's his nuts?
Dennis Havrilla.
Oh yeah,
Havrilla Gorilla, right?
Yeah.
With the game-winning rushing touchdown against Portland when Portland blew it out. It's at the end of the game that it should have won.
See, there's another quarterback too. There's another team that lost a named quarterback. Vegas loses Raderick again.
Look, J.J. Raderick's not really a named quarterback. But anywho, that's neither here nor there. Vegas is going to get just crippled in this game. The spread's only 19. It ain't going to close at 19, people.
What I think is funny is that Vegas right now has a better chance at beating Arizona, according to Massey.
They don't freaking know any better
than what New Orleans does in beating San Jose.
Yeah, well. Well, I mean, I think that's accurate. I think Vegas does have a better shot than New Orleans does.
Yeah,
but not by much.
Yeah. Jacksonville travels out west to play the Portland Thunder for the very first time. And I think we mentioned this before during the year that this is one of the very few times that an East team has come out west.
Well, this is a tricky spot for Jacksonville. This feels like the type of game that Jacksonville just punts, doesn't it? I mean, they're going all the way out west. Have they done this before? They went out to L.A. earlier this year and they putzed around with L.A. for a while.
They came close. They came close to losing that game.
They probably should have lost that game. This team hasn't been good on the road. I mean, yeah, they beat the snot out of New Orleans, but they squeaked by Cleveland. They squeaked by L.A. They lost to Tampa a couple weeks ago. They got killed by Tampa early in the season. They got killed by Philly. They got beat by New Orleans. Portland stinks, and I know Portland stinks, but Portland's got a shot in this game. I don't think it's a terrible stretch to say that Portland could win this game. I think Jacksonville will get out of this one, but I think it's going to be very, very close. I think it's very easy for the Sharks to be looking ahead to next week's home game against Philadelphia. By the way, it's supposed to snow with this game, right?
Yeah, and this is one of the things I wanted to talk about too. And they're promoting this as the AFL's first ever indoor snow game. A lot of people have thrown around the ideas that maybe this has to do with they're going to change the turf to white.
Big deal. All they got to do is take LA's turf at that point.
Well, that's dirty snow. So, yeah, I don't know how they're going to do this because, you don't want shades of the infamous confetti game because that would be really sloppy and could be very bad for the players, obviously. I don't know how they're going to do this. They're not really letting out what they're going to be doing. So
we'll see. Maybe they're not doing anything either. So we'll see.
Well, they're promoting it as something, so I'm sure they're going to be doing something. Well, it depends on
the players are going to wear road jerseys instead of home jerseys.
Yeah, they've done the red out thing already. I mean, it doesn't match what they're saying. AFL's first ever indoor snow game.
Mm.
I can just imagine, dude. I really can.
Am I the only one who thinks this is going to be a train wreck? Like, really? I think this is going to be either totally lame or a complete train wreck, and possibly both.
I was thinking of going with Lane, depending on what it's going to be. I will tune in first quarter on ESPN3 to find out what's going on. But other than that,
you'll have to take pictures. I'll be downstairs on the field for the Tampa game.
That's right.
Oh, for those of you listening, we're going to be back to our AFL finals. The reason we haven't had any of those in the last couple of weeks, I haven't been around. But I'm around now. I'll be in Tampa on Saturday night for the War on I-4, and we'll be doing our regular post-game coverage, and I'll try to get some reactions from both sides of the game. Though I'll tell you, if history's any indication from Orlando's side, if they lose, they won't make anyone available to the media. Dig.
Yeah, I was going to make a television reference about the Love Boat, but never mind.
Yeah.
A, dating myself, and B, you won't get it.
Yep.
No, that's usually movies. Anyways, last game of the week could be this could be an interesting matchup, Adam.
Doesn't this suck that this game means something? Doesn't this really suck that this game legitimately means a lot?
Yeah, and let's mention who it is. It's Spokane travels to play the LA Kiss.
If the Kiss lose this game, they're not quite mathematically eliminated from the play. Actually, not quite mathematically eliminated from the playoffs, but for all intents and purposes, they would, because they'd be 3 games back in the win column. Forget about what the loss column means in the National Conference. To both Vegas and Spokane at that point. But if they win this game, you're going to have Vegas at 5 wins, Spokane at 4 wins, Portland at 4 wins, Portland at 3 wins, and LA at 3 wins. And God help us, but 2 of those teams have to get into the playoffs to go get their asses kicked by San Jose and Arizona, respectively.
Mm-hmm.
I think LA is going to win this game because why not? Don't know who's going to be playing quarterback for Spokane. Your guess is as good as mine. I mean, I thought Warren Smith had something going.
I think it will be Warren Smith.
I mean, like I said, your guess is kind of as good as mine is at this point. Will not be Carson Kaufman. I mean, maybe it's Arvell Nelson. I don't know.
Oh, I forgot about him too. Yeah.
But he wasn't very good against San Jose. Not that anybody was very good against San Jose.
No. Yeah, but I'm actually leaning towards LA on this one too. Slight, I really am. It's who does Massey have?
Ben Nelson's playing again for San Jose.
Who?
When the hell did I miss Ben Nelson playing again for San Jose?
While you were gone.
Oh, good. So they have Reggie Gray, Ben Nelson, Darius Reynolds, and Maurice Purify?
Yes.
Life is not fair. What is this, Jacksonville?
Or any other team that's had 3 major wide receivers in 1 year? There have been many teams that have
4 major wide receivers in 1 year. And Adrian Tennell, who's on IR. It's ridiculous. The league has to put a stop to this bull crap.
We'll see what happens.
I'll get off my high horse.
Okay.
Wow, was our box score bad from that game? That game, it says there were 78 minutes of possession in that game.
Oh, I'll have to go back and check that one.
We need to fix that. That's obviously wrong.
Yes, it is. Damn that streak. Damn that stats program. Wasn't us. Okay. It's been a long time since you have been here.
How did I do with all that stuff, by the way? I don't even know.
What?
With all those predictions that I made before I left. I can check the tape, see what happened.
Yeah, I'll have to check the tapes. I'm just getting back into mode anyways, you know that. But
I know one thing that happened while I was gone, or when I came back. Somebody came up north and took a World Cup home. Who was that, Tim?
It wasn't Canada.
No, it was not Canada, was it, Tim?
No, it wasn't. It is what it is. So the U.S. women team won another World Cup.
And guess what? The men's Canadian team probably is not going to fare any better in the Gold Cup this week.
I don't think the men's Canadian team is as good as the women's.
Of course it's not, but the rest of CONCACAF isn't very good either.
But then again, this is also where you have the Montreal Impact who make it 1 game from advancing to the CONCACAF tournament.
Well, that's different. This is for country. That's for club.
Oh,
But
okay. You can tell I know so much about soccer.
yeah. So no, this is the best players in. These are the best Canadian players, not the best players in Canada.
Okay. Does that mean that the MLS is sort of like the old school CFL now that they have two teams named the freaking United?
That's gonna keep happening. So
do they have another nickname? Sort of like Man U, they're called the Red Devils. Does DC
Atlanta
United have?
United. Well, they're called the Red and Blacks. I don't know what they're gonna call Atlanta.
They'll call them the Arthur Blanks.
Does he own that team?
Yes, and they're playing at the new Falcon Stadium.
Great.
Talk about way too
So
many.
anyway,
yeah. So I
so anyway, I got the United States to win the Gold Cup and pull off the soccer double.
Okay.
That'll be decided in a few weeks. Let's see what else we got here. Wimbledon's going on now.
Yeah.
I like Maria Sharapova on the women's side. I think she's gonna beat Serena tomorrow, and I think she'll go on and win the tournament. And I think Novak Djokovic is gonna storm to the Wimbledon final in the men's side. So there you go.
I can't think of anything on my end that I would.
3 for the price of 1. It's been a while.
Yeah. So that's cool. So, Adam, obviously, welcome back again. Great having you here. And
only another 3 weeks till vacation again.
That's right. We want everybody's feedback, if possible, whether it be for Meerkat or for the YouTube. We know that it's a new thing, and yes, I know that the lighting for YouTube is not that good. I know it's fantastic for Meerkat from what I'm seeing. But we want your feedback. So shoot me over an email at tim.capper@arenafan.com or adam.markowitz@arenafan.com. So for everybody here at AFL Tonight, for Adam Markowitz, I'm Tim Capper. Watch the rebound off the net.